purpose. My purpose is divine, and it will be carried out. You know that as well as I do. You saw the visions.
Sadly, I do.
And I'm thankful that you have journeyed with me on this quest. And you know how important it is, and that nothing will stand in our way.
You understand why I journey with you. It's not to seek vengeance with you. It's to try to turn you aside from that path.
And I understand your attempts to do that. But you also must understand that I am serious in the oath that I have taken.
Sadly, I know. We'll keep the door open.
Perhaps when we have completed our objective, I will think about it. And then we can talk at length. Until that point, there are things that we must do. And things that I must do. That my oath will allow me to do in order to get the vengeance that I seek.
We will seek Lightbringer, then we'll speak of it again.
There's a crack of thunder from the distant mountain tops, as if Malak, the surviving storm, echoes its kind of compliance with that statement.
I'll make a holy sign as it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Cthulhu!
Actually, no. I'll throw my head back and do like a lightning crack of my own.
Just dab. Did Phil just dab?
Yeah. So yeah, you absolutely kind of
You're too old for that shit.
give your appraisal to your deity. Can everybody roll me a will save, please?
Good try.
Oh, I love
You're
that.
like 4, 7. Oh, bless.
The
You should have gone with the 18.
The most easily swayed. Grundak. You have a fitful sleep. Despite your desire to have a really good night's sleep, you toss and turn in your sleep, and instead of snoring loudly as you normally do,
how rude,
your sleep is mainly you thrashing around. In your dream, you're trapped on a mountainside, so the weather's terrible. Rain hammers you, and a dark figure emerges up ahead. You take out your great axe and step up, and as the figure gets closer, it is it's a figure slightly bigger than you, with the markings of the Goliaths. They're a race of mountain people. They're slightly bigger than you, broader, and this one wears a full set of black plate mail with a black cowled full helm. And as you kind of wield your axe, he smashes the axe out of your hand, and you see it kind of pinwheel away down the mountain. And he grabs you by the throat, lifts you from the floor, and you feel this horrible kind of stench of death on his breath as he brings your face close to his, and he growls and then says, "Stay away from the cave, follower of day," and he throws you off, and you fall, and you have that horrible sensation of falling, and then you wake covered, like soaked in sweat, just as you're supposed to hit these sharp rocks that rise up towards you.
Check for my axe.
Your axe is there.
I'll get up. What's the time? Look up at the sky. Can I see any stars?
It's first light. But it's been all night, so you've been in that vision, even though it felt like less than a minute. You've been going through that vision the whole night, and the only thing that broke it was the break of day. guys. He looks pretty unsettled, actually.
Grundak, you seem shaken.
Nightmare. Or a vision.
A vision.
A vision.
Yeah, I was still like, a vision?
A vision.
Hot.
Timmy.
Hard to say.
Try.
Tell us then. Speak.
I went up against a Goliath, one of the mountain people. It warned me to stay away from the cave.
Oh.
I don't remember. I didn't hear the last bit what you were saying, Phil. It cut out.
Follower of Dawn.
Right. And he called me a follower of Dawn.
Goes with the Lightbringer thing.
Hence the reason why I don't want to just call it a nightmare.
An omen.
Oh, we should definitely go to the cave then.
Cave, here we go. Woo!
What's a Goliath?
Mountain.
You'd all have heard of the race, the Goliaths. They are large humanoid folk, quite rare. Live in the high points of the mountains. They're big, very big.
Why would they have an interest in whether we go to the cave or not?
He stank of death.
Could just be a follower of Shah, perhaps. Either way, you break camp, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Conceal your tracks.
Yep.
Breakfast quickly, and you're on the trail again. I have to say, you make great progress. So you guys literally keep up a great pace all through the day. You probably eat while you're walking. The trail isn't too difficult to keep up, so you're able to kind of take your snacks while you move, and the day passes without any kind of problems. You can see though that the Tribor Trail in the distance, so as night is starting to fall and you're starting to look for a camp, you think the ruins that you can see in the distance may well be Conyberry. So it's
time
probably
to reach them by nightfall.
No, given that most of you can't see at night, you'd be kind of, you could reach it physically. It's probably 3 or 4 hours travel, but you wouldn't get there until the late hours. I have to say, it is a remarkably clear evening though. So there is a little bit of moonlight.
I can create a light source, but it would set us off like a beacon.
I would rather we did it tomorrow.
And remember, you have heard reports of undead to the southeast of Conyberry, so perhaps journeying there at night, well lit, might not be such a great idea.
Mike, I've pinged you as well. A question in Roll20.
Good question. I'll
How do you
check
do
that.
private questions? How do you
You
do that?
slash W.
/ whisper. Yeah.
So the other thing to say is just as you're about to make camp, you all hear quite clearly a strange, must be a kind of wildlife call that kind of echoes through the valley.
What sort of call?
Could be a.
I've got survival.
Or, I know you have. You're more than welcome to make me a quick survival check. Yourself as well, Shepherd. The rest of you, no.
It was a leaf. While people are making bed rolls up and whatnot and getting themselves settled, is there particularly for me, there should be enough light to see by. Would I be able to use survival to set a few sort of, not so much snares, but sort of trip falls and such like to impede people approaching camp?
You could, yeah. You could set a few little trip lines and stuff. You've got snares, so yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to do that. So,
okay. You've set your snares. No need to give me a survival roll. It's fine. You definitely set them. You're capable to do that.
I do want to have a quick chat with Shepherd.
Okay. Well,
So at some stage, I'll do. So, Shepherd.
Step into my outfit.
I think there is something that I need to explain about my brother and I.
Oh.
I am the one.
Awkward.
I am the one on the path of vengeance, not he. He is a healer and has come along because my path will be a dangerous one.
That's probably why he looked like I'd just shat on his dinner then when I said that. Well, that is good to know, and I shall offer your brother my apologies for misconstruing his faith.
A simple mistake. I'm sure he's not offended.
Yes. I'm pretty sure if I ask him, he'll tell me the truth. Like, as I was offended, but
I was deeply offended.
I really was.
Of that, I have no doubt.
Okay. Can I ask, if it's not too impertinent, do you have a specific target for this vengeance? Because general vengeance seems quite vicious.
I do.
Okay.
I have taken an oath.
Against a specific individual or group or sect or...
Kill the drow. It is to avenge a murder.
That's a good reason. That is a good reason for vengeance.
And that's why there is urgency in our quest.
So how does this murder relate to the quest? I'm sorry. It's what I am. I will ask questions, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm elbowing in a bit too far, but the truth is a fascinating thing.
Phil, was it he or she who was murdered?
It was an it.
It's an it, but a he. You'd identify it as a he.
Okay, right, thank you. When he was murdered, he sent my brother and I a vision, and in that vision, we saw this symbol. So this symbol will guide us on our path and take us where we need to go.
Okay. Well, I feel educated. And I think I'll be a little less
There's a
insensitive
good story
next
there
time.
somewhere, you reckon?
Yeah, but it's too early to push for it now. A little bit at a time. Let them offer them up on their own. Drop a few more insensitive comments and see what he offers next time.
Just pick at that scalp.
What did I miss?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
A few little chats around the campfire.
Oh, okay. About?
Just about.
Do you speak Draconic actually, Joe? Because I'm assuming you don't.
No.
Right.
Just about...
That was in common. I've just been speaking to
Yeah,
Shepherd.
but our conversation was in Draconic.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
I
it was
heard that.
private, but if anyone was eavesdropping and could speak Draconic, I'd be none the wiser.
I could have. If I was so inclined, and I might in the future.
Gift of tongue.
Comprehend languages is a marvellous thing.
There's a little bit of commentary, Joe, about Lumi's reason for being on his path of vengeance.
Oh.
To be fair, I might have done it while Amarakis was out of earshot.
Well, I generally take
I
the
might-
first
I might-
watch, so
Yeah,
I'll be heading.
I might.
I'll bed down after that.
Yeah, I might not have done. So you may have, if you wanted to overhear it, you could have done.
Best if I don't think.
What did he say? What did you say?
Lots.
You have to watch it back on Roll and Play, Joe.
Corporate message.
On www.
No worries.
Very well.
Yeah, you guys get some rest. Who's taking first watch? Okay, no worries. Amarakis.
I'll take first watch because you took first watch the last time, so you should sleep.
I'll take last watch then.
Right, no worries. So, first watch.
I'll do my best to take no watches.
Nothing out of sorts here. Who's on second watch?
I'll take it.
On second watch, are you going to go and check your snares? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Snares. You'll find that one of them has been tripped, and you'll find a little rabbit
Oh,
snared in it.
bless.
Coney.
Nom 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 nom.
Tasty.
But other than that, the rest look fine.
Reset that one and then head back in.
Third watch.
If that's last watch, it's me.
Well, I'll probably be up on that watch anyway because I didn't do a watch the night before. So.
Third watch. You hear that call again. Animal call.
Kind of distance? Is it a similar distance or does it feel closer?
Feels closer. There's a seeing as it's really quiet. You know, you got the sound of wildlife to the north in Neverwinter Wood, and the kind of shape of the sort of slight valley that you're in as the foothills. It's from within the foothills, it feels like, but the way it carries could be quite close.
I'm not going to go bundling around in the dark.
I'm going to go off and check it out.
On my own.
Fucking
On my
spike
own.
yourself on one of
Big
Grundak's
torch.
snares.
Don't worry, I can see at least 10 yards with this big torch.
I've got a great idea. Don't worry, everyone. I've got a bullseye lantern.
Well, I think we'll just have to remain vigilant.
Okay.
Keep an eye out. And if Amarakis is up on the watch as well. Are you awake at this time?
I was taking last watch, so whenever that falls.
Well, I'll probably be awake on last watch with you then.
Alright.
I didn't do a watch the night before, so.
Yep. So you hear that sort of animal call, but other than that,
Call of the Hawk. Or the half Hawk.
Is that the same as the one we heard last night, Shephard?
It is.
it is.
Not natural.
Somebody
is it?
trying to sound like an animal call. But it's vocalized wrong. It's vocalized by a sentient speaking being, not an animal.
So, like I say, the last watch passes without any problems. You guys wait.
Before the last watch finishes, while everyone else is still asleep, I will say to Amarakis, your brother has informed me of your how my words were incorrect yesterday about your particular path. So please accept my apologies for my ignorance. I am now educated.
You're forgiven. It's an easy mistake to make.
I just assumed, I made an assumption as you were both brothers that you were walking the same path. Clearly that's an assumption I won't make again.
No. I'm concerned that my brother walks his path too with too much dedication. I want to make sure that it's not a one-way trip for him.
Understood.
Okay.
We both feel the rage, but
Whilst I will encourage him.
we can't let it consume us.
I'm going to say people begin to rouse from their sleep.
Thank you for understanding. I appreciate the apology.
No, I don't really want to get on the wrong side of probably the only other level-headed person in the group. Say that before the drow wakes up.
I'm already awake.
Otherwise, she'll just
I
start.
heard that.
Otherwise, she'll just start drinking my essence. Waiting for
It's
the
a
mouth.
likely
Well, as
ending
raging
for you
from
if you carry on like this.
No, you see, my body language will shift fairly instantly, though. You know,
Yeah.
forgiveness is forgiveness.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's water under the bridge.
No worries. Okay. So yeah, you can happily gather up your bits from the camp and start to head towards the ruins of Conyberry.
This noise we heard in the night, this howling.
Yes.
I don't wish you ignore it.
There's not much we can do about it. To see, I don't know what it signifies because there doesn't seem to be any kind of answering call, which is kind of what I was expecting if it was a message being conveyed in some way. There's just a single call. Was it the same kind of pattern as well, Phil? There wasn't any kind of
Yeah.
Was it the same call, or was there a slight variance in the tone, or the length of it? Slight variance. They could be changing a message. There's no answer.
Or it could be a different call from a different person.
Yeah, that could have been the answering call.
Yeah. So you start to head towards the ruined village of Conyberry.
Yes.
Like I say, the place has been annihilated, completely destroyed. You can just make the vague outlines of where buildings once stood, the odd kind of half wall covered in moss and grasses. But importantly, this is the point where the trail splits off. So you've got it's almost like a T-junction. So the Tribor Trail comes up and goes into this ruined settlement, of which you can just see the kind of edges of the ruins. But to the east is where the Tribor Trail continues, off skirting the mountains, and west, or kind of northwest from here, it heads into Neverwinter Wood,
which is the one we want.
The directions you've been told. Referring to these kind of brief directions from Sister Grail, you make out that actually there's a short distance up the path. There's actually kind of a pretty easy landmark of a twisted tree that you can follow a small trail off the main path. So, to be honest, providing you head in there, you'll find it very easily.
Has anybody ever seen a banshee?
No.
Not seen one, no.
You've heard a tale about one, though.
That was going to be my next thing. I've heard a tale of a banshee, though.
Yes. They are immortal creatures that are bound here by various things. So if you think of them as like a restless spirit, perhaps that's the nicest way to put it. But they are not something you could kill, if that makes sense. A sort of a ghostly power.
Are they undead?
I would more probably quantify them as restless dead rather than the undead that you're speaking of. They're semi-corporeal. They're not like a shambling zombie or vampire. They're more of a...
Like a wraith or a spectre?
Yes.
These are undead.
Okay. You quantify them how you want.
Why don't we just wait and see what we see?
Sure enough, you can see this. You can see this twisted.
Hand Shephard the hairbrush. You may need this.
What are you trying to say? You're
going to be doing the talking.
Thank you.
I think he's trying to say you're doing the talking, dude.
Yeah, well volunteered.
And usually everyone else just blunders in all elbows and knees, but now that it's a fucking undead spirit that's bound to this earth, it's like, there you go, Bard. You go and chops to the banshee.
Take the hairbrush of truth. Step off.
Yeah, it's kind of silver. It's got kind of silver chasing on it and a mother of pearl back. And, it's quite an expensive item.
It's no use to me.
Over. Yeah.
Before entering the Banshee's cave, is it worth having a 5-minute break? Because quite frankly, I am dying for it.
Right. Are we all ready?
Oh, the devil are you?
The devil of me is good.
Middling.
So shall we press on towards Cave of Absolute Darkness and Death?
Wait, no.
Or sorry, I mean the clearing of Mysterium.
Yes.
My favourite place to be.
We're heading to the
definitely.
Banshee of Healing.
Yes. Okay, so you walk at this kind of twisted tree, you take a kind of turn on the path, and no more than kind of 100 feet down the path, the forest feels different here. So it goes quiet, it goes cold. Yeah, there's definitely kind of those ambient sounds of the forest just seem to dissipate over kind of half a dozen steps.
Put my furs back on.
You certainly get a feeling of somewhat of anticipation as the kind of distance that you can see on the trail shortens radically as it kind of twines through banks of much denser vegetation. What order are you travelling in?
Well, they're clearly pushing me to the front.
I mean, I was going to say you've been unceremoniously hustled towards the front, one would assume.
No, well, I don't know, to be honest.
I'll take up the rear.
Yeah, I beg your pardon.
You take it up the rear?
I take it up the rear.
Just in my bus.
In the cloaca.
Cloaca.
It's a versatile thing.
Cloaca.
You use it to grip walls.
What are you going to do with that?
I feel very confused right now.
You need to watch Slipgator. I'll still stay at the front
I don't think I do. I think my life is complete without it.
Until Mr. Bard needs to open his mouth and give it the gift of the gab.
Okay.
Yeah, I think standard running order.
Okay. So you come after a couple of these twists and turns to a kind of, it's not a cave, it's almost like a natural clearing with a canopy where the branches have kind of pulled across each other, and sort of off to one side is a small, almost simple dwelling in the shelter of these kind of woven branches. And you can see a bed, a chair, a table, a bowl. All the furniture looks ornate, definitely kind of elven in design. And as you move a little closer towards it, there's a kind of a flickering, pale light seems to emerge from the kind of darkness where the branches converge. And you see an incredibly beautiful woman, but with a kind of very twisted and pained expression. Her hair moves ethereally as if it's kind of held by a ghostly wind. And like I say, she's tall and slender, and her feet are kind of limp but drift an inch or more off the ground. She moves forward, and as she opens her mouth, you can see she's got this kind of beautiful face, and it's the expression that's nasty. It's not the features themselves. As she opens her mouth, it's just pure blackness. You can see no teeth there, and the voice, as it kind of comes out of her, you hear like this rasping, sibilant sound that kind of pierces through your hearing. As she kind of, this, like I say, her maw opens a little too big. She goes, "Fools! Do you not know it is death to seek me out in my lair?" You're like, whoa. Whoa.
My mistake.
Shepherd goes, yeah. I'll gently ease him forward.
I'll do a 180, stick the hairbrush in Amarakis' hand and just run.
Grab.
I presume you'll stand there, right?
Alright.
I presume you'll stand by Shepherd.
Okay. So I've got the world's worst poker face, right? I look quite frightened.
I, on the other hand, have got a pretty good poker face, and I'll stand next to Shepherd.
I'm cowl.
You can see it kind of like drifting almost as those hands that were kind of down by her sides lift a little. Their fingers are sort of twisted and distended with claws upon them.
You're up.
Speak.
I'll give her a very respectful and almost courtly bow, as if bowing to a lady of the court, and say, "Forgive us. We mean you no harm, and we mean no disrespect. In fact, we come to seek your counsel and bring an offering as a sign of respect." And hold out the hairbrush.
She'll sneer and look at it. And these kind of inky black eyes kind of look a little more careful, and the expression softens just for a moment. That kind of real etched anger just melts away just for a heartbeat. She'll drift quickly in a sort of stutter-start motion towards you, almost like the intervening moments are stripped out. I think you just did a little bit of wee then. Someone walked in the house behind you and Medz goes,
No, it's just Kim falling over herself. She comes to the door. It was her who made the choice.
Like I say, she kind of moves forward and then stutter starts, and she's right in front of you, Shepherd. Agatha reaches down with that clawed hand. You feel ice kind of touch as she kind of takes the brush out of your hand. That she's definitely physical manifestation. You seek my counsel, mortal. I will answer one question.
Running round my head is must not draw the axe, must not draw the axe, must not draw the axe.
I will look at Amarakis, and we have but one question.
I'll not keep our word.
Which is what I assumed you would say. My friend here has the details.
You'll see her kind of.
You were the one that actually spoke to the sister.
Quite close to you, Shepherd. And then when you turn and say, "Yeah, my friend over here," she'll whip her head around to look at you, Amarakis, and move quickly towards.
I'll make a little beep.
Tongue clicks out on your eyeball.
Up to her full height, which puts her eye to eye with you.
Well, dragon, ask your question.
We seek the location of the book of spells made by Bogentle.
She smiles. It's almost like she knew you were going to come and ask the question, which is interesting. That you certainly don't get an impression from her that she is going to attack or anything. There's nothing in her, even though her posture's like, she's right up in your face. There's nothing about her that you get the impression that she's going to attack you.
Good.
So as soon as you mention Bogentle's name, the kind of sneering, twisted face will smile. I traded that book many hundreds of years ago to a necromancer by the name of Cernoth. He had a tower in the city of Erebor more than 100 years ago. That is the last I recall of Bogentle's great magic.
Thank you, Agatha.
Smiles and looks at the brush, and for a moment she lifts the brush to her hair and rakes it through the kind of rancid black greasy hair, smiling. Such a pleasant gift. With that, she turns away from you and starts to move back towards the clearing.
Have I heard of that necromancer? Is he famous or anything? No.
Saying that, you can roll me
Yeah.
your academia. What's it called?
History.
Arcane?
No,
Okay.
it'll be Arcana. Yeah.
So I'll just mutter, great, so we don't get to find out where Cragmore is then.
I'll come back to you in a second. Let me just answer this one.
15.
15. Actually, there is a text part of your education in necromancy refers to Cernoth. There are a handful of necromantic spells that are particularly nasty, which come from Cernoth and some of his students, but they're many hundreds of years ago, certainly from centuries long past. Grundak, as you kind of make the kind of muttered comment, Agatha just pauses, and she just, her sort of slow drifting movement away just stops. And she'll really gently lay down the mother of pearl and silver brush.
Oh, and
You
instinctively
see
take
her
a step
face
backwards.
turn.
Yeah, me too.
Her face turns, and then her body kind of almost follows it as an afterthought. She looks back towards you. Those dark eyes narrow again. What is it you said? Half-orc.
I was commenting to my friends, it looks like we weren't going to find out about Cragmore.
You had your question.
Exactly. I wasn't a
Now
critic.
leave or die.
I think we'll leave it. But,
Yeah.
It gets cold.
Yeah.
Like the cold temperature starts to drop by degrees. Like dum 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 dum.
Time to leave.
Yep.
Time to leave.
Yep. Not hanging around. It wasn't directed at her, but more a general question, statement of
wasn't looking.
dissatisfaction. I
She
know.
wasn't looking.
She's a seer. I expect she knew.
The rules were pretty clear as we get away.
It's a kind of moment as you're sort of gathering your bits together. You see her kind of almost take this deep ethereal breath. And then her mouth kind of splits open. So huge, great black maw shrieks out in the kind of mythical banshee cry. I won't even look at your wisdom saves. It is absolutely terrifying as she kind of unleashes that kind of infernal majesty for a second.
I think
As you
yeah.
scatter down the path. In fairness,
halfway
you're
there
probably by
anyway.
the twisted tree before you realise like what happened. You're like, fucking hell. It's a bit warmer here by the tree, though.
She was interesting.
There's a collective sigh.
What?
Grundak, that is the verbal version of a fucking raging charge. Don't make snide comments in the presence of really powerful spirits because you didn't get your way.
He has a point, though.
It was just
Here, a
a
little lesson.
It wasn't the only avenue available to us.
You mean the druid?
There were two more: the druid and the orcs at the crag.
Yeah. I favour the druid next. What time of day is it, Phil?
I'd say probably mid-morning, to be quite honest. Not
We should
too
try and clear the village before night falls.
Agreed.
I've heard of this Synos, by the way, in my studies.
Really?
Yeah.
You studied necromancy, or
Yeah. Of course I did.
Of course,
Did you not realise?
I'm a dark elf. Comes with the territory.
Yeah.
no?
Oh, well, no, you do realise. So they're I mean, you're talking hundreds of years ago, really, but from what my studies showed, there were some relatively unpleasant and fairly powerful spells through his lineage.
Finger wiggling.
Well, and, in necromancy, powerful spells are nasty. Real nasty.
But we have our answer. We've fulfilled our bargain.
This is true.
So you you heading back to Connieberry from within the forest, yeah?
Yes.
No worries. Like I said, take you an hour and a half, sort of lunchtime-ish by the time you get back to the ruin. And you can see, interesting enough, you can see a wisp of smoke to the southeast.
Oh.
So you remember you were told about Old Owl Well?
Yeah.
Not too far from there. Is it just
I am
trail of smoke?
actually starving. That smoke makes me think of food.
I'm in no hurry to check it out.
Let's just eat and walk.
They're in quite different directions, right? So heading back down the Tribord Trail towards Phandelver is southwest. It's kind of more east-southeast to head towards the Old Owl Well. So if you want to skirt it and keep well away, you can head back on the trail, and you could almost be back at your campsite that you used last night.
I've had one brush with death today. That's enough.
Just one brush with death a day.
Have we decided where we're heading next?
Phandelver needs to return the information.
You sure? You don't want to check out where these infernal creatures are?
What?
Why would we want to walk into a massive undead? We've no idea how many there are. Why seek out trouble? Why seek out trouble?
Trouble finds us.
Exactly.
Because
we have enough
it's
that comes finding us.
the right thing to do. It makes you feel alive.
We have
It's
a
the
greater
right
path to
thing
tread.
to do. Have you realised the error of your ways after your goblin murder?
I'll stiffen
That
her.
wasn't. That was not murder. That was a tactical decision.
Let's
Cold-blooded tactical decision.
we'll not go into that again.
It needed to happen.
Haven't
No,
we
it
been
didn't.
over this? Hang on a second. Haven't we been over this, dealt with it, and moved on?
No,
I thought
it
so.
hasn't been discussed. I'm very, very uncomfortable about the cold-blooded way in which you killed that creature after we'd saved it from its tormentors.
It was pretty messed up, Grundak.
It really
It was
was.
unconscious
Hence why this sudden
and
like
wounded.
something is the right thing to do. It just comes across to me as like you just want a good old scrap.
My brother and I
Yeah,
had
the
serious
witches are dead.
concerns about travelling with such a psychopathic individual after that.
Wow, you really don't mince your words.
I'll just shrug my shoulders and carry on walking.
Every group needs something that's prepared to do what's required, even if it means getting their hands dirty.
I'll kind of look towards the drow, mild surprise, and yes, and then carry on
Joking.
walking.
You're
That's where the
joking,
logic
that's
fails,
the
though, because that didn't
definition
need to be done.
Dark elf. No, just do what you need to do to get things done.
Yeah,
Don't ask questions, just get it done.
yeah. It's that requirement that doesn't sit well with me. I don't see how it was required.
You left a potential combatant behind you while you had fighting ahead.
Wounded and unconscious. We'd have to
Not
potential ally.
secured. It wasn't even secured.
He was unconscious.
Or
And near
feigning
death.
it. You don't know.
We heard the beatings.
Well,
We saw the wounds.
you do not realise how tough these little buggers can be.
Didn't seem very tough. You broke his neck easily.
I know what I was doing.
That's the only reason why I bring it up. That particular act was incongruous with the words of "it's the right thing to do to go and take on these undead." That just seems to me like you just want a bit of violence. And yeah,
There is nothing wrong with a good fight, Shepherd.
Oh, comes the animal call again.
picking your battles though.
How close?
That's the art to the battlefield. Is picking your battles.
I am aware of this.
How close are the sounds?
Oh,
Is there more than
Direction?
one?
South. South. It's the way we travel.
You can quite clearly, if you're kind of heading the Tribal Trail actually heads southwest, right? So ahead of you, you can actually see Wyvern Tor. It's way up. Obviously, the mountains, kind of scale up past the low foothills, but it's almost like in that direction.
I'm feeling quite vulnerable. Now I know there's a bounty on my head. I can rely on you to, kick ass and stuff.
Might be a stupid question, but why is it called Wyvern Tor? Is there anything we should be concerned about from our draconic cousins?
Used to have wyverns there.
And their tower.
Oh, yeah.
No, the tale, in fairness, asking any of the locals back at Phandelver would have revealed that Wyvern Tor is named for a big, in ages long past was a huge nesting site for wyverns, but they were cleared out by heroic adventurers years and years ago. So occasionally other forces use that place.
Executing our people.
Yeah. Other folk use the kind of those high grounds as territory. Now they're clear.
As we're walking, I'll unlimber my axe based on the fact that we just heard another call go up.
Okay.
So I'm ready.
Everyone, let's give me a perception check.
I'm still here. I'm just shifting again to avoid you getting motion sickness. I'll just do this.
Oh no! Whoop!
Oh, for God's sakes!
Grundak's looking north.
Excellent.
You shield your eyes, but accidentally close them instead. Okay, Brorna.
Do I need to do disadvantage for my?
Yeah. Can you just roll perception again, and we'll take the lower.
Oh no.
Oh man!
You might get a 19, Joe.
Hey!
Not too bad.
Annoyingly, you see something that nobody else sees.
I'm paying attention. That's why you lot are busy.
She's hyper vigilant. I
am hyper vigilant at the moment because I think
your gaze picks out a. It's interesting that the hills, the foothills, are kind of a reddy brown colour. There must be sort of clay or something, some kind of reddish clay in the hills. You see quite a subtle movement, and with that decent roll, you actually pick out the form of an orc, and his body is smeared in that red and brown mud.
Scout.
You actually pick it out because he's carrying a short bow and a kind of bunch of arrows in one hand.
Ooh.
And it's as he moves, you just pick a slight movement out, so you can pick it out, but it's a good distance away.
I'll actually kind of, guys.
You'll just go, look there.
Yeah, look. I'm just like, I'm not trained in that kind of stuff.
God.
Look,
I'll turn to look where she's pointing.
You guys look. It takes you literally, even with her pointing it out, it takes a moment to go, what's she pointing at? And then you'll actually see the scout sort of slink off behind some rocks. You see him. You see the clear figure of an orc, but like I say, red and brown mud spread across his whole body, as he sort of slinks off. You hear,
is it them that's making
you hear that call again.
Yeah. They're rounding us up.
I think it's more just keeping the borders clear.
You're pretty sure that call came from a different direction to the last one.
Which direction?
That one was almost kind of directly south. The other one was a little to the southeast.
Oh, I just want to go back.
Wait, we're going.
Some dinner.
We're heading to the southwest if you follow the
trail.
Are we?
Oh, okay.
Do we need to go a different route?
Right. You can skirt it'll take maybe another half to 1 day if you skirted the southern edge of Neverwinter Wood. It would give you cover, if you like.
It might come with its own dangers from within the wood, though.
Certainly. But
it's up to you. They may not engage. They may just want to keep us away from their territory.
They're either, from your perspective, Grundak, you lived your whole life with an orc tribe, and actually, if they're hunting, then they'll come for you at night.
And I will say as much.
If they're just patrolling the borders and keeping people away, then it's entirely likely that you won't see them again if you head southwest and you get a good day's travel in.
Right. So we travel and just stay vigilant at night.
I would hope to avoid conflict.
As would I. We have an objective to achieve.
It'll be what it'll be.
We can make the best time just staying on the Tribor Trail, which is well travelled, and just pick up the pace.
Yeah.
Get as far as we can before dark and be hyper vigilant.
Let's do this.
Okay. You spend the rest of the day marching quickly to the southwest, following the Tribor Trail. You do hear one more wild dog bark, but it's a distance behind you by the time you hear it. Late in the afternoon, it's a significant distance away, and if you keep travelling all the way until you get to near dark, you'll definitely be at a point where you've made good progress. And that is where we'll call it time. So we'll call it time just as you're making camp. Probably another day and a half, a good day and a half travel, maybe 2 days worth of travel.